We are starting soon.
Hello, world. This is Album Book Club. Welcome to another episode live. This week we've got Anthony chilling on the couch with us here. This week we're doing LP2 by Downward. This is their sophomore album, even though maybe it's an LP. I'm not going to have that argument this week. They are from Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's 4 of them. We've got Drew on vocals, Tim on guitar, Hunter on bass, and Tolly on drums. That's a sick name. This is an alt-rock, or some people say post-hardcore album. I tend to agree with that.
The one week I don't ask when I write it on here.
All right. You just want to roll right into it?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's start with our top 3s. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, let me pull up my list.
So while he does that, thank you to Women in Peril for this suggestion. It's from that interview.
Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
You can just check out all our videos while you're there. I got some good stuff.
Yeah.
My top 3s. Definitely Request Made, Absolute Value, and Out of Luck.
I had Wind Up, The Waltz, and Ibex.
Wild. Across all of that, one of those is on my list. I had Line, The Waltz, and Dark Screen.
I had Rival, Wind Up, and Ibex.
Nice. Now onto our bottom song. Do you have a bottom song?
Yep. My bottom song will be Rival.
I have a bottom song, but I don't think it's fair to say it because nothing scored low enough to feel like a bottom.
Honestly, same, but we gotta say it.
Okay, it's Request Made.
Mine was Out of Luck.
Mine was Perfect Food.
This might be the biggest spread we've had.
Did we get all of them? We were darn close.
We were pretty close.
All right. Well, speaking of Request Made, that's our first track. Let's start with scores. Would you give it anything?
Give it a 7.
I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 6.5. Real tight group there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right off the bat, I was really happy with the mix. I usually complain about the mix first off, but I was happy today. Well, it was a little shrill in the high end for me, but nothing terrible. I really liked the rock, and this reminded me a lot of Biffy Clyro, which is a really good thing. That's all I got.
There's not really too much to say about this song. It kind of is just there. I didn't realize it was going to be an intro because it feels like it's going to go on for another 2 minutes, and then it just doesn't. The verses are slower, which is a trend that's going to continue throughout the rest of this album. And I liked when I'm not even going to call it a chorus because it's not, but when all the guitars come back, I like that part, but my biggest gripe with this song is that it's just way too short.
Yeah. My biggest complaint is a mixed complaint, ironically enough. Everything was just too quiet in the master. I had to turn this up significantly higher than I had the playlist I was listening to prior on. And that was noticeable because when things kicked in, oh gosh, they kicked in.
I liked it a lot. I was feeling it. It was a good way to open up the album. It's very kind of shoegazy for me, so everything blended together well. I'd say it's one of the more upbeat songs in the album. Like it's a pretty slow album for me. The later half is kind of turns that notch down, where I think it starts up pretty open. Very cool.
It's definitely a complaint I have later is the album just kind of slows down a lot.
Weird. I think I have that opposite. I felt like the beginning was slow, and then it kind of picked up later.
It may just be there's longer songs in the back half of the album because this was a pretty quick track too. They tend to be very close tempo-wise throughout the whole album.
Yeah. I mean, more energy
Yeah.
and less actual. The tempo, you're right, is very similar throughout. But I feel like more happens on the later half.
Yeah, there's definitely some killer dynamic contrast as we go on. All right. Speaking of going on, we're on track 2, which is Wind Up. What'd you give it?
I gave this one another 7.
Nice. This one got a 10 from me.
I gave this one a 7.
I gave this one a 7.
Looks like I'm the outlier, so I can go first. I'd say probably the whole reason it got a 10 instead of a 7 was the fact that it's in 5/4. I gave it 2 pluses for that because most people don't even understand what that is, let alone how to write a cool drum part in it. So that was super impressive for me. Just felt like a jam. It really reminded me of this other band called Mew. If you've never heard of them, they're killer. I'm just going to give random European bands a shout out most of this, I guess.
This is where my mix issues start, and I don't think this note is ever going to go away, so I'm only going to say it the one time here. I think the drums are just a little bit too loud throughout the entire album. And Logan brought up earlier that it was everything else was just too quiet, but I kind of think it's a mixture of both. I think if we just move the sliders a little bit more equal, it's the vocals are usually fine. It's everything else that I have a hard time hearing because the drums are just there. But overall, I did like this song. From what I heard from it, the guitar part was good. And it has more energy than the last track, so fixed that complaint real quick.
There are definitely a lot of guitar layers that disappear
Mm-hmm.
that are really cool if you turn it up and listen loud. But if you're not listening loud, you won't hear them.
Yeah. My big complaint with the mix that I'll just kind of say here and get it out of the way is the cymbals just disappear into the distortion, which it's cool because you can hear the attack really well, but it just led to everything dissipating, and then the riffs themselves kind of got unclear a lot of the times. But like Carl said, it opens up once you crank it, and that kind of, well, that hurt the back half as you'll see this go on.
Yeah, I like the drums a lot. They felt pretty tame, you know. I feel like most people aren't gonna pick up on like how good this drummer is because it really just blends in with the mix super well, and I think that's part of the strength with the album. I hope that's what they're going for.
There's one song they show off a little bit. They may show off. There's occasional little things that I'm like, oh, there was a little bit of something.
It's never overdone though.
No, it's not. Yeah, which is cool because it tends to be in any like harder rock or even getting into math rock. Either the drummer is not doing enough or is doing way too much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to hear someone that kind of lets the rest of the band shine and then shows off when they get the chance. All right, track 3. We are on to Absolute Value. What'd you give this one?
They're a pretty good one. I gave this one a 9.
I also gave this one a 9.
7.5.
I gave this a 6.5.
I'm kind of interested as what Logan has to say. I heard disdain.
There's like a harmonic part that was going, I can't remember if it was the whole song, at least the last 45 seconds. It just drove me bonkers. It wasn't in tune with anything. It just sounded cool, like on its own. And I respect the heck out of that. But oh my gosh, did it go on for way too long to just sound cool and not fit in the actual key of the song.
Talking about the thing right in the intro?
This is the last note I have, so it
so
probably came back.
May have been really, really late then.
But yeah, it was just not my favorite. Also, something that, I mean, I was going to say for significantly later, but is just these songs kind of sound very similar. It's just the distinguished parts you can pull out and tell, oh, yeah, this is different. The vocals sound very good, but are definitely of like a similar cadence in each song. And so I kind of had a hard time taking notes when I realized that on this one. It's like, oh, this is very similar to the last track, and I would have put money on it that the rest of the tracks would sound the same.
That's very much a thing with the kind of the genres they kind of touch. A lot of the alt rock stuff tends to be very similar throughout an album, and they'll change a lot from album to album, but you'll get this whole like piece thing. But I agree with you. The whole album is very monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's the right word.
Yeah, it's just, part of the album. It helps put it together. If they experimented too much, someone would be out of place,
Mm-hmm.
Break it up.
Yeah, I like this one. It had a lot more. I could hear a lot more of the guitars, I guess, and everything they were doing I was liking. I had two really little issues with this song. One that is costing it most of the points that it lost. There is like a little 2-note, I think it's a keyboard hit that loops through the entire song.
Yeah, I think it's guitar actually, but
Is
it's like very, very affected before they did the loop.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't. The keyboard has a question mark after it because
Yeah.
I wasn't really sure, but guitar would not have been my guess. Those 2 notes do not go with this song, like at all.
Yeah, no.
And it got a little annoying after a
Yeah,
while.
we're talking about the same thing.
Is that-
It is
okay.
looped. It's a harmonic on
Then
the
yeah,
guitar.
it's the same. It
It's
just
just run through like
it's looped and
6 different
to the
things.
end, yeah.
I saw it as almost like this rhythmic thing that's going on through the thing, and I actually thought it was kind of cool because when that comes in, when the drums come in, the way they lay together is really cool. But then when the rest of the band comes in, they pull it back a little bit, but it is still in the mix throughout the whole thing, which is kind of a weird choice.
I did realize that on the next song because it has another like metronomic style thing going on, and I really don't think I like that. I don't love metronomes being in my ear in general. Like even in the studio, I'd rather have the first 4 and then tap my foot.
I don't know. It's very likely that it's just like a DL4 looper.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. It was just a looped.
That's very,
It's very shoegaze.
yeah, shoegaze math rock. That's a very, very common thing.
It's also whatever it does in the last like 2 seconds of the song made me mad, but not mad enough to like take points off for it. I forget what it was. I didn't write down specifically what happened, but
You got any notes?
I do. I think I really like this album, and something to touch up on earlier about how all this kind of sounds the same, similar. I think it blends together really well, and something I would love to see on a future album is I feel like between songs there's too long of a pause. I think they could lead in to each other much quicker, and it would sound great.
There's
I
one.
would say they do
There's
it the once.
one that
There's
is
one.
perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's between 7 and 8. Yeah, the only thing no one mentioned is this had a gnarly guitar solo tone in it, and that comes back. Anytime there's a guitar solo, it's not weird, but it's different and good, and that's such a rare thing to hear when most guitar players own the same 4 pedals as every other guitar player. So
Yup.
cool. On to, speaking of 4s, we are on to Line, track 4. What'd you give this one, buddy?
I gave this one a 7.
A 7. This one got a 9.5 from me.
Gave it an 8.
I gave it a 6.5.
Aw.
Well, I bet you guys know why I gave it such a high score. This one's in 7.8
Mm.
or 7.4, whatever. Probably 7.8. The only reason it didn't get a 10 is I'm not sure if I like how much vocal distortion there is. It's not vocal fry. There's a distortion on the vocals.
It's only in the first half.
Yeah, it is. It's only in the first half.
My first note I wrote as soon as it started, I was like, this effect is fine as long as it is not the entire song, and it wasn't, so it was not points off. Yeah, I like all the like lo-fi stuff in the first half, and I love what happened in the second half with like bringing in all the rest of what their sound is.
I think this is the first one we get the full dynamic range of the band too.
Mhm.
They like come in hard and then they let it ramp. My only problem with that is the vocals disappear when they ramp. That was the only other note I had.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah, I like that sound enough to look past it. But their last note where they went completely out of key for one note at the very last second made me mad. I think that's all I had.
Yeah. The intro was solid, great, cool, good vibe. Acoustic guitar sounded great. The vocal distortion absolutely like killed it for me at first. I was like, I'm not having it. And then it went away. It was fine. Then we ended with like a metronome kind of click, and there, or at least for the last like 30 seconds, there was a click of some sort going on, and it just bothered me. It just didn't feel natural in the song, while everything else sounded actually pretty good together.
Nice. You got any specific notes?
I didn't take too much on this song. I like this song. It wasn't too crazy for me. At this point in the album, I think I realized, oh, this is a sad album. I was like, these guys are hurt. Somebody hurt these boys.
This is definitely the point in the album where I started realizing, oh, it's not going to pick up any. I kind of expected there to be a little harder or a little faster song at some point. I think by track 4 of them all being roughly the same tempo, I was like, okay, this is just it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I guess it kind of is. All right, on to track 5, Dark Screen. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got, Anthony? What'd you give it?
I gave this one a 6.
Nice. I give this one a 9.
Give it a 7.5.
I give this one a 6.
I like the weird drone at the beginning. It kind of had me thinking we were back doing the horror movie score review video for like 1 second. And then again, everything the guitars are doing, when I can hear them, they're doing great things on this whole album, pretty much. Drums are still a little too loud, but it wouldn't be a problem if there weren't so many like really far back background effects happening just throughout. So I still can't hear like half of it, but when I get like a little glimpse of something in the background, like, oh, I wish I could hear that.
Yeah, I actually don't have the minute-long intro as a negative. I originally wrote it as a negative, and then I changed it to a plus or minus. It's just kind of because it is so cool.
Yeah. I really think I just would rather see this live. This is basically what I ended up writing here is there's a certain energy that you cannot capture that this is trying to in recording. And that is fine. That is like impossible to do, to feel the energy of a live crowd with the reaction to this kind of music. But that's the vibe you need to get into this. And that's fine. Doesn't make it bad music. It actually makes it good music because I want to go see it live.
Oh no, I could definitely have a bad day. Pump this album on, go home, play Skate all night. This is definitely that album. This is
That's fair, yeah.
puts me in those vibes.
I'm also wondering if speakers would, because the note that I have on here is that my headphones might be messing with this a little bit, because I do listen to these the albums on this show with the Sonys that are a little more bass heavy. So I'm wondering if that's just pushing the drums up to the front. If nobody else had that problem, but
It is a drum forward album.
It's
which
drum
is
forward
okay.
and vocal forward.
Which is probably why I liked it. But
if you're going to be drum forward, you also have to be vocal forward. That is a problem we've seen so many times on this show. So they at least fixed what would have been a much bigger problem.
Yeah, that's what I texted Carl. Was like, yeah, if you can run it through speakers, do it, because it needed the headroom. The AirPods, they were cooked. If you had it below a certain volume, you lost all of the mids, and then if you went over that volume, the distortion went up to like 20. So that's what I was working with.
well, so since I left these here last week, I listened on the 7506s, and they are like meticulously awful. I don't even know how else to explain that if you've never heard those headphones, but it sounded good on them. And then I did check it in the car earlier, and the mix sounds really good, at least in my car. But I've got a lot of low end available. Stock stereo may not be the best.
I think from what I remember, it didn't sound too bad in my car. I'll have to check it again, but
Nice.
I want to do it on the monitors now.
I feel like that is the environment for this, is just anything to bounce off of and then come back is where this thrives, because it helps break up that distortion just enough. Like, hence why if we were in a brick room, this would sound amazing. Like, if this was just blared at us.
Right, and it's weird because this mix, for being so big, is fairly dry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you think of other things that sound like this, weirdly enough, the whole time I thought of the mix almost sounding like almost Deftones like, just without the crazy cutting pitches. There's a ton of reverb on all of those things in Deftones, so it's such a weird thing to hear it so natural sounding, which is the thing that I really liked, is the drums were forward and real sounding, and yet the cymbals were not killing us. So I mean, it was just a really good mix, at least on that part. As far as Dark Screen goes, I loved this track. Space cowboy vibes. You know, it almost reminded me of a lot of the longer, more experimental Led Zeppelin songs, or, you know, it almost more of even Pink Floyd, that kind of thing. Something that it's this huge space and it takes a little while to build up and get the energy going. There's some cool stuff that they do where they let it grow and bloom, which is something not enough bands do. I usually complain if a random 6-minute track is in the middle of an album like this, but this worked. Even with a minute-long intro, they just let it build. I liked how the drums were faster at the end. The only thing I really didn't like was there's this weird vocal effect where it was in stereo and bounced back and forth, almost like a Leslie. But it was only there for, I guess, 20 seconds or something. It was hard to find any negatives here. Cool. On to track 6, which is Ibex. What'd you give this one?
This one got 6 for me.
Nice. This one was another 10 for me.
6.5.
I accidentally wrote down the date, July 10th, 2010. So, 7 out of 10.
You had to go back in your memory and remember what that date was, right?
Yeah, I was like, what the heck is 7-10-10?
I can get this out of the way. This is a thumbs up plus. It does get a little, I'm putting this quotes, heavier here, which is just they brought in more guitars. And they do that a couple more times.
This is the moshing song, man. This is the one where they want everybody in the pit going crazy. And I was here for it. I liked it. There was a terrible clicking sound at like the beginning though. Did not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Although there were just kind of random goofy guitar licks thrown in there. I don't know what they were. They worked. They were just fun. The drums on this song were like especially notable. Just very, very good, very cool parts. It did, however, overwhelm like the amount of effects, but it was just kind of at the end, which works. You know, it's a song about building up and all that. It's not about that. It's a song where the music is building up the whole time.
Sorry, I'm looking up what song this is because the rim clicks in the beginning reminded me. Yeah, it's Pain by Jimmy Eat World. They start with kind of just rim clicks at the beginning too. I think it was a snare drum and floor tom was what you were hearing. But I did like them. There was a lot of chord complexity going on here, which is something I always give people bonus points for if it's a rock album. Just any sort of extended voicings are great. I don't know if they're synths or guitar pedals, but the pads that go on are the right volume. When they drop in the full energy, it's awesome. And then that section where everything just gets crazy is... I literally wrote humongous in all caps. That's the only way I can describe it. I don't know. I enjoyed this one. You got any notes for this one?
Yeah, not too much. This one I just wasn't ready for. I know this was different, so I was definitely in a mood this far into the album. So this threw me off pretty far.
You were sad, not angry.
Yeah.
All right. Track 7 is Out of Luck. What'd you give this one?
I gave it something high. I gave this one a 10.
Nice. This one got an 8.5 from me.
This one got a 6 from me.
This one got a 5 from me.
I understand that.
I think the only real problem that, well, okay, 2 real problems. I didn't love the vocal effects until they were on their own, which happens for about 1 second at the very end of the song. And also, this is like pretty much just an interlude.
See, I don't know. Maybe I got it because this immediately to me was like a tribute to the Postal Service.
I felt like a lot of this album kind of sounded like them. I almost wrote it down somewhere.
Well, it's just that the vocals over the loops thing is just such a thing. And where the vocals are very exposed. The thing I wrote is they're very vulnerable and sincere feeling, which is not weird for this genre, but I wasn't expecting it on this album. And I enjoyed where the slowdown is on the album. This is kind of almost the emotional slowdown of the album, and it's in the right spot for that.
I was going to say, the whole first half of the album was slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was just a lot of empty space in the wrong way for me. With how their guitar players are, there was certainly some sort of moving part that you could have thrown with the acoustic or something to just give that extra layer of emotion. It just felt a little empty for what we've heard. And, I mean, that is definitely someone's bag. This is just not mine. I do think this is the proper time to slow it down. I like when everyone gets some more spotlight instead of it just being like, an already vocal and drum forward album.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean someone other than the singer gets a spotlight. 'Cause
Yeah,
the singer
much.
ruled the world on this track.
Oh, great job. The whole song itself is not bad. It's just very hollow kind of, but not necessarily in a bad way.
I was going to say, I gave it a 6, but this is the lowest score that I gave on this whole album, so.
That's next for me.
Uh-oh. How did I get that
What
one?
you got? You gave it
No.
a 10.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I enjoyed the slowdown. I really enjoyed all the effects used on this album. I think I'm really into the sounds that they are exploring. All the synthy noises, they're very nice.
Nice. I keep playing with Moogs every time I see them, and that's coming soon. If I could afford it, I would already have it. All right. Track 8 is Perfect Food. It's a really weird name for a song. All right. What did you give this one?
I gave this one a 7. I really like the name. It's a good name. It's a great name.
This one got a 9 from me.
Gave it a 7.
This one got a 4.
All right. Hater first, then.
This was really just having my phone at 95% volume culminated on this one. The headache kicked. It was just every effect was kicked to the max. The solo sounded good, and there was a perfect transition between the last song and this one. It was just a matter of way too much going on through AirPods. Wrong place for this song, I suppose. Just got screwed.
I almost wrote that Logan's not going to like this song.
I think the song itself is good. It's just a lot.
Well, the only reason I say that is I wrote it reminded me of like a late 20-aughts like rock ballad, which are a lot of the bands that you just really don't care for. So that's I pretty much nailed it. I think it's funny. This is the one with the killer transition.
Mm-hmm.
That was the main thing. I really liked the dynamics again, and then the groove feels great. I didn't have a lot of notes. That's why I wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, this is another good track. I like everything that it's doing. I did not like the dog whistle at the end. I don't know what effect that was, but I did not care for it. But there's a bunch of stuff in the background of this track, and I think that's why I liked it more. There's The only one I have actually written down is like a guitar that jumps octaves right in the middle of everything, kind of cuts through the entire mix a little bit, like that. And then this is where I was starting to actually get to hear some of the effects that were going on in the background.
What you got?
I gave this one an 8.
Yeah. On Perfect Food?
Yeah.
Yeah. That means you liked it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. They were definitely, when they wrote it, they were cooking. They were like, we're cooking. Perfect food.
See what you did there. I like that. Also, what's up to our commenter, so they just joined. All right. On to track 9. We're really blistering through here. Track 9 is The Waltz. What did you give this one?
It's got a 7.
This was the unspoken third 10 on this album for me.
Oh. Give this one an 8.
Give this one a 6 and a thumbs up.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, on this album, this is the sound that I wanted, the kind of craziness that happens every once in a while. This is what I wanted. And this one is pretty much it the whole time. Every other time it's like the second half of the song will have this. But this was it the whole time. This is exactly what I wanted to hear.
So Anthony liked the more emo song, and Connor liked the more post-rock song. So we're revealing a lot about ourselves here. No, I agree with you, though. This is the pick-me-up the album needed at this point, especially after the last track. The two biggest notes for me is they called it a waltz, and that would have made me really angry if it wasn't actually in some sort of 3/bass time. I don't know if it's in 6/8 or 12/8 or 9/8 or whatever. Well, it's not 9/8, but I don't know if it's 6/8 or 12/8, but a lot of people don't understand that that's what a waltz is. So that and the drummer really shows off on this track. Like, there's some cool stuff going on. You got anything?
Yeah, I really like this song. I would have put this song at the end of the album and went out with this. I think it could have closed out really, really cool with this one song.
I completely agree with that.
Okay, well, on to the last song that no one thinks needs to be there then, which is Rival. What'd you give this one?
This one got a 5 for me.
Wow, I gave this one a 9.
So I still gave it a 7, but
I give it a 7.5.
I don't know. See, I must be the only one that thought this felt like an ending. Just kind of has that vibe. I like the build, the dynamics. It almost feels like the riding out into the sunset, which on this kind of sad album is something you kind of need. You need a little closure. I also have Huge Wash O Doom written in caps, and I don't know what that's in reference to, but it must have been cool.
I didn't hate what it led on that it was going to do, because the first half kind of made it seem like it was just going to go back to the really slow down stuff that we'd seen in like the first half. I was like, I get it if that's your ending. And then it brought back in the stuff from like the song before this. And you're not wrong, it does good as an ending. I just kind of wish that it wasn't the ending. It's not that it's a bad ending, it's that I think it would have been cooler if the other one was. Because I do like this song, and I like, there's a lot of cool effects like on the vocals and the guitars in the first half, and then it brings in all the stuff that I wanted in the second half. So I don't think it's a bad album or bad ending, but I don't think it's a bad album either. But I think I just liked the last track better.
I mean, we'll definitely get into it later, but I definitely think the whole album could have if you had given it an energy boost track at some point, I think it would have really helped.
I don't even think you needed to add anything. We'll get into it in the next section of this, but
Yeah. Nice soft intro. Great. I needed a break for a second. And then they kicked everything back in, and that was fine. It felt like what this album should have done, for an ending. I agree with Carl on that point. It gave us the soft, it gave us the heavy. They also threw in that tube that you flip upside down. And it goes like, I'm 90% sure that is a noise in there at the end of this. Or at least they've figured out how to replicate it on the guitar, and that's even cooler.
What you got for our last track here?
I was vibing very well with the song. I think where it lost me is I'm maybe I'm a bitch. I really like my outros, all right? And I was listening to this one in the car, really feeling it, and just the ending to it caught me off guard. There's a very higher sounding frequency, and it just didn't fit with me.
That's totally fair. I don't know. I feel like this is more of an LP and less of an album. I didn't get there was a whole concept here, so that may be some of it too.
This is a concept album. That's 2 weeks in a row that it got me.
Yeah, no, this one, not that. I mean, although I literally couldn't find much about the band other than their names, so I couldn't have found anything about the album.
So last week at least makes sense to me. This one kind of doesn't.
Yeah, I got no idea.
All right, on to which word am I gonna say? On to pacing.
Oh,
He glared at me.
almost got fired.
I did almost get fired.
Logan glared at you, or I did.
Both of you.
'Cause I did not. I was trying to process that I was on the wrong camera during that whole thing.
Oh, nice. All right, on to pacing. Do you want to? What was your pacing score?
My pacing score. I gave this a 6. I didn't think it was bad. I think it could have been a lot cooler, you know? I think I said earlier, I just wish the songs were, their endings were cut shorter, and then they would immediately lead into the next song. It might blend too much, but man, I would have been a sucker for it.
That's fair. I gave pacing a 9 just because I think the tempos overall are just low. And it just made it feel like it was a long listen for me, even based on its length. And maybe that has to do with the emotions on the album. But I feel like if a couple things were even just a slightly different tempo, not even necessarily faster, but almost everything was the same tempo the whole album. And that almost makes it a little monotonous, even though there were some mixed meters.
Yeah. I gave pacing a 6. I don't think it's bad, like, at all. I just, like we were just talking about at the end there, I think a couple things could be, like, moved a little bit. Because it's, like, real slow in the beginning, and then it picks up for, like, 1 second, then comes back down. And I think there's an order that could make it flow better. I gotta remind myself that's not a forbidden word. But I think there's a way to do it, but that's not what they intended, I guess. I don't know what they intended with the kind of roller coaster of adding in everything, but I do think we talked about it earlier. I think ending with a bang would have been cool.
Yeah. I also gave pacing a 6. I think everything could have just worked a little better together. I think you guys have pretty much hit it. You just get a little, like, tired of waiting, I guess. There's a lot of really cool concepts or really, like, a lot of good things happening here. It's just sometimes, those outros are like 30 seconds. Or there's a hard cut and then a hard, like, intro. I think if you reordered this album, it would work a lot too. It's not that it roller coasters, it's just that certain songs would work better near each other instead of as far apart as they do. And that's, like, just a normal thing, I think, at this point.
Yeah. No. All right. On to album art. How'd you feel about the album art, Anthony?
I think the album art was very cool. I liked it. It was pretty bright for the album, which is definitely an artistic choice.
What would a number be?
My score, I didn't write that down, so I'm gonna pick on the spot. I'd give it like an 8.
Nice. Yeah, I gave it an
Yeah.
8. I don't think I get what the picture is. I think it's a statue wrapped in a plastic bag, which
It's
is kind
an
of cool.
angel statue wrapped in, like, garbage bags.
Yeah. I just have my normal pet peeve because I'm a boomer, apparently. The band name is not on there. So.
I think I disagree with your boomer opinion this week. For how short the album is, I don't think it needs the names. I like it. I gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8. I like it. I think it's a cool picture, man. I think it's also very kind of fitting. It's a pessimistic view on something that like a lot of people would have a high view towards, and that's just kind of how the album is. It's just a very, very half glass empty kind of album.
Yeah, unless you've seen Doctor Who, and then all the angel statues would be in garbage bags, so you could hear them rustling.
Why didn't they ever think of that?
Yeah, it's a good thought.
Because they didn't have Carl.
Yeah.
You're right. Carl's the new Doctor Who next season.
You always wanted to be a ginger. All right. On to the big number. Album overall.
Overall, I give this an 8.
Nice. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. This is a good album, and even though, we're, I think, all big fans of concept albums and albums that tell a story, this one does its job. It really sets the mood for you, and it lets you feel all of those emotions. So, yeah, no, I'm with it.
Nice. I gave this one a 9.5. I felt like it had to be better than last week's. I gave last week's a 9. I think that's part of why it ended up so high. It's a very drum forward album, which is like my favorite thing in the whole universe. It is a little bit of a downer, and tempos are a little bit one dimensional, but maybe just a little energy shot somewhere, and I think it would have been a 10. I mean, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. Gave it a 7.5. I like pretty much everything that happens in here, with like minus a couple little nitpicks here and there. Definitely gonna listen to this again in speakers and in the car. See if I can fix the couple of mix issues that I had.
Yeah. I gave it 2 scores. Gave it a 6 out of 10 for AirPods. Don't listen to this in AirPods. It's a terrible experience. I would not recommend it. But I gave it a 7 out of 10 overall. It's a very solid album. It's very good for what it is, but like Carl just said, it seems, I don't want to say one-dimensional, because that's like the wrong word. It just seems like people that are ready to explode into the next thing that is crazy, and that's the album we got to listen to.
Yeah, it does almost feel like there's like 2 huge build-up insanity songs that were just pulled.
Mm-hmm.
That is almost what it feels like, because they kind of build up into it a little bit, but you never get that full, I don't know, release is not even the right word, but there's a lot of build, and then it just kind of stagnates, and then the song's over. Like, it'll never really fully just let go.
This is definitely the album I think we'll come back to after the next one's out, or is the next one is out, maybe.
This came out in May of this year, so...
Yeah, so I'm sure if there's a downward 3, that will be even better.
Yeah, I don't know. The other thing about this one that was really cool is this almost became like a missing link between a lot of bands that I like. I think that's part of why I liked it so much, is there's so many different influences that this is one I'll definitely throw on some playlists, because it can get you between things really easy.
That, I think, is, I guess another gripe with this is, as singles, oh my gosh, this works like infinitely better, or as a concert like set list. But in an album context, I think it kind of hurt itself just a tad.
I mean, we talk about it all the time. People don't know what albums are anymore, so.
That is, yeah.
What else you got? Anything?
Nope.
No? All right. We got a few
What are
minutes.
we listening to next week? Yeah.
Next week is Halloween week. I don't think we're ever going to get it to where we do one of these lives on Halloween. That was supposed to be this year before we changed days. But,
Yeah.
It's just another thing I ruined.
I don't think that was you. But, next week we are listening to Welcome to Horrorwood, The Silver Scream 2 by Ice Nine Kills. Happy Halloween.
All right, I'll do our little YouTuber spiel. We're so close to 1,000 guys. Just we appreciate you all being here, but like anyone that hits the subscribe button, we really appreciate it. We're right on that threshold. Otherwise, we do still have really cool merch. I don't know if this is real yet, but this thing's awesome. Logan's wearing some cool merch too. So, got mugs. There's always mugs.
That jacket that Carl's wearing, we can probably have on the store like in the next couple of minutes. So, not that I think anybody's gonna be rushing to go buy it, but
No, it's actually really cozy though. I was really impressed. All right. Well, thanks, Anthony.
Thank you guys. It's been
Mhm.
fun.
All right. See you next week.